mates! Welcome on board Royal Caribbean's Mariner of the Seas. We are here for a 5-night sailing, so be sure to check out our entire Mariner of the Seas playlist to see our daily videos as well as our room tour. But for today's video, I want to take you around, give you a full and complete ship tour, show you all of the public venues on this vessel. We're going to start all the way down at deck 1 and work our way up. So let's go ahead and get it started. Our tour of Royal Caribbean's Mariner of the Seas begins right now. All right, we're actually going to start on deck number 1 with this vessel, and there's not too much to see here. This is mostly going to be the gangway area when you're in port, but here off the midship elevators, which are going to be the rear, just to cover that, there's 2 elevators and stairwells on this ship, forward and midship. So if I reference that, that's what I'm talking about. So here off the midship elevator, if we just come around here, you'll see the green marking with the arrow right through there. Normally would be the medical center. They're doing a little bit of work right now, but that's where you would find that. And that's it for deck number 1. All right, deck number 2 now, and there's not too much to see on deck number 2. It's mostly just staterooms, but there is something here, public area, the conference center off of the forward elevators and stairs. But this is a great time to explain how the Voyager class ships work, such as Mariner of the Seas that we're on. Because we have Studio B right here, we'll see that in just a little bit, it actually blocks you being able to transverse the hallway. You cannot pass through here or here on deck 2 or deck 3. So you see down here, when you're looking for something that's forward, it says please use forward elevators from deck 4. So that's what you have to do if you're in the back here in the midship area and you want to access something on the forward of deck 2 or 3, you need to go up to 4, walk across, and then come back down. So that's what I'm going to do right now. All right, so now deck 2 forwards. Again, went up to 4, across, back down. Now we're at the forward elevators and stairs of deck 2. So here in the middle of this section, we will find the Crown and Anchor Society Loyalty Ambassador Desk. So if you have any questions about your loyalty status with the Crown and Anchor program, you can speak to them here when they are available. Now just behind that, we will find the entrance to the conference center. So if you're having some kind of meetings on board, or you need a big gathering space for your group that you have, you can utilize these different spaces. The Caribbean room, the Bermuda room, they have a couple others down there, and it's just a nice little conference space, and they'll usually set up refreshments and things like that. You can order it different ways, but this is the kind of public gathering space that you can reserve for your group or your business or whatever you have. And that's all we have to see on deck 2, so we're going up to deck 3. All right, deck 3 now, and again, we're gonna have the same setup as deck 2 where we cannot transverse, so we'll have to go up to 4 and back across. But here in the forward part of deck 3, mostly staterooms, but we do have one public area, which is the Royal Theater. We can find the entrance here. It's currently closed, but I did get a shot inside of it the other day. So it is a 2-level theater. You can sit up in the balcony section. They have that lovely curtain there with the sparkly, glimmery effects as well. Okay, that takes care of the forward part of deck 3. So once again, you can see the break there, going up to 4, across, back down, and we'll catch the back end. All right, back on deck 3 now in the midship/aft section, and a few things to see here. If we turn all the way aft, we will find the entrance to the dining room, the main dining room. And like most ships, this is going to be a 3-level dining room, and it is open air to those upper decks. So this is going to be the main area on deck 3, and then we'll also see deck 4 and deck 5 entrances as well. So typical dining room setup, we're going to have those porthole windows outside on the perimeters there on both sides of the ship, and then all of our tables set up here in the middle. And we have the lovely chandelier up top, the grand staircase there in the back with the statue and the artwork behind it. And then you can see, again, open air up to deck 4 and then deck 5 up there at the top. So a 3-deck dining room. We'll see the entrances to those when we get to those decks. I'm not going to keep popping in here because it's pretty much going to look like this. And as we exit the dining room, I should also point out that they do typically post the day's menu here on this digital display board. Now we proceed forward on deck 3. We're walking between the elevators here, and we're going to head into this kind of rotunda area. So a couple things to see here. First, we have the art gallery, Park West art that you can bid on or purchase. They have sometimes have auctions. Sometimes you can just buy it outright, but anything they have, they'll display here. Now, I also want to point out that this is open air up to deck 4 and deck 5 as well, and technically on beyond that, but they do have the stairwells here that you can use to access those points as well. Now, over here on the starboard side, we will find the Focus Photo Gallery. So if you've had any professional photos taken during the cruise, this is where you can purchase them. You just swipe your SeaPass card, they'll come up there on the digital display, the touch screen. And then they also have different souvenir items you can purchase, like the etched glass, different photo frames, even the towel animal photo frames. And they also sell camera equipment GoPros and accessory, the Insta prints, SD cards, cables, things like that. Now just beyond the art in the photo gallery, we find the entrance to Studio B Center Ice. This is the ice skating venue on board. So they will have ice skating shows here, and you can also do free ice skating sessions as well. Got some footage of that the other day when we went inside. Oh, and before we leave the area, one little thing I forgot here, they do have the Picture This photo studio right next to the gallery here. So if you want to have professional photos done, you can set that up and have them done there as well. All right, with the front section and the back section covered, we are now done with deck 3, and we're also done with the not being able to transverse, at least for now. We'll get to some other stuff later up top, but we are moving on to deck number 4. All right, deck number 4 now, a lot of things to see here, and I want to point out that we are in port right now, and the crew are doing some drills, so you'll see a lot of crew standing around. They would not normally be there, but let's turn and we'll head aft, and we'll find the deck 4 entrance to the dining room. Again, the same dining room that we just saw on deck 3, just the deck higher. Now we'll walk across this elevated bridge between the elevators, and we'll find this stairwell that I pointed out down below. So again, that heads down to Studio B and the photo gallery and all that good stuff, or you can go up into the promenade, but we'll get to that later. Now we turn over here, come over on the starboard side, and we will find a Starbucks. Now this is a standalone Starbucks location, so drink packages typically do not work here. You would need to purchase these items a la carte, but they do have it here should you like. Now knocking back over to the port side, we will find Boleros. This is the Latin Lounge. We have our bar in the middle, even have some themed car seating right there with a nice mural. Porthole windows all along the side, and then we have a dance floor and a stage here at the forward part. As we proceed forward on deck 4, we enter Casino Royale, and I want to show you this cool floor when you enter here. They've made it plexiglass and hidden all this stuff inside of it. Really cool feature. Now beyond that, it's your pretty much standard casino setup. They're gonna have table games over on the port side, slot machines over on the starboard side. So yes, slot machines abound here on the starboard side, and then all the table games over on the port side, and they also have televisions mounted, usually playing live sports or things like that. Now there's a stairwell here that you can take up to get into the Royal Promenade, and I'll show you where that comes out later. And then you do have a large bar here centrally located in the casino. We wrap around here, and it's just more of the same. Table games on the left, slot machines on the right, lots of good stuff. And then they do have a coin pusher machine here as well at the end. Now as we exit Casino Royale, we'll start seeing some dark hardwoods and some nautical features. That means we are entering the Royal Caribbean staple of the schooner bar, the nautical themed piano bar. You see we have the big bar area here, large porthole windows on the side, the piano there centrally located. They're doing some trivia right now. That typically happens during the day, but a hopping piano bar at night. Now, as we arrive to the forward elevators and stairs, we actually want to turn and come over here towards the port side because we will find Izumi Hibachi and Sushi. Now, this is a specialty restaurant, meaning it does come at an additional cost, and technically it's 2 put into 1 because as we see here, it's hibachi and sushi. Some ships just have the sushi. This one has the hibachi and the sushi both. Let's see if we can have a look inside. So we have our check-in desk here as we enter, the cool samurai outfit there, and then we have the hibachi tables over there. So typical hibachi like you would see at Kobe or Benihana or something like that, and it does wrap around the corner there, and then we have the sushi bar located there in the middle. Now past Izumi Hibachi and Sushi, we'll walk through the forward elevators here, find the stairwell, and we will also find the upper deck entrance to the Royal Theater, either port or starboard side. And now I also want to point out that this is the promenade deck, so you can come, not the Royal Promenade, we'll get to that in a minute, but the promenade deck is an outside area where you can walk around, open air. This is where the lifeboats are. They're doing a drill right now, so I don't want to get in their way, but you'll also access the helipad from this deck as well. Alright, now that the drill is over, I will show you how to get to the helipad. First, I want to point out again, the promenade deck is just kind of this outer deck area you can walk along. They have chairs you can relax in as well, and it spans pretty much the entire deck area here on deck 4. So what we're going to do is come outside. You can do it port or starboard on deck 4, and you're going to walk forward till you see this stairwell. Head up, and you'll land here on deck 5, which is still open air to the outside. Now I want to point out, these doors actually go into the Star Lounge. So if you're already on deck 5, you can come out these as long as they don't have those locked. Sometimes they do. If they're unlocked, you can open them up and come through, and that way you don't have to bother with the stairs, especially if there's an accessible concern there. Either way, once you're up here on deck 5, you're just going to proceed all the way forward. Now, if it's very windy outside, if they're doing some kind of drill or maintenance or whatever, they will have the gate closed. As long as it's open though, you can continue on forward. Now, this area off to the left is a crew only area. You'll see people out there exercising, lounging, hitting the punching bag, that kind of stuff. Nothing for you to be worried about. That is crew only. What you want to do is keep coming all the way outside here. And now we're open air completely out on the very forward part of the ship. You can actually look back and see those ocean view rooms that are along the forward part of the ship, as well as the bridge up top there. Once you get to this area, you can proceed up the stairs here. And unfortunately, there is no workaround for accessibility with this part. So you have to be able to get up the stairs to actually get on the helipad area. They do have a lot of bench seating out here, and obviously its main use is in case of an emergency for a helicopter landing. But it is a great place to come and take in the views, especially when you're sailing. It can get quite windy. We're not even moving right now and the wind's blowing pretty good. When you're sailing, it can get really windy. But for sailways, this is a great spot to come in and take in all the views and enjoy everything the ocean has to offer. Deck 4 is now covered, so we can proceed to 5. Okay, deck number 5 now, and a lot of stuff to see here, including the Royal Promenade, which is going to be a huge area of the ship. But before we get to that, we're actually going to turn forward here, and we're going to find the entrance to the Star Lounge. This is a multi-use space. They'll do trivia, game shows, all kinds of hosted events inside of here. And you can see it's a pretty large venue. There's a lot of seating in here, but it does get filled up. We have our dance floor and our stage there, centrally located. Seating over on the other side as well, porthole windows on both sides, and then we have our bar over here on the port side. Now, even though there's a ton of seating in here, it does get filled up. These events are very popular, so you'll want to be sure to arrive early to get a good seat. Now, right here to the entrance of the Star Lounge, we can turn on the starboard side, and we'll see the sign there says library. So inside the library, they do have some computers you can use, printer if you need to print something, and then just some comfortable seating areas to read. They do have some books you can borrow, as well as some board games and paper games like Sudoku, crossword, things like that. All right, across from the Star Lounge and past the forward elevators and stairs, we now find ourselves in the Royal Promenade. Now, on larger ships like Oasis class, I would typically do a circle, but this promenade is so narrow, I'm probably just gonna bounce back and forth from side to side. So let's start here on the port side with Playmakers. So as the sign says, Playmakers is the sports bar and arcade, but of course they also have great food here. It does come at an additional cost, but we always enjoy it. They have a pool table in here as well, and they'll have all the live sports playing for your enjoyment. The bar there in the middle gets very busy, especially on game day. Now around the corner here, there's some additional seating, and then there's an area that's typically called the owner's box, but they've kind of revamped it here on Mariner and just made it kind of a pseudo arcade. So we do have a foosball table there, Miss Pac-Man and Galaga, and then we do have the Donkey Kong remix right there, throwback style. Now across from Playmakers, over on the starboard side, we will find Cafe Promenade, and this one's a little bit different than on other ships. So first of all, if we come over to this side, you'll see that they have the bar here. They do serve the Starbucks drinks there, and because this isn't a standalone Starbucks location, those are usually included with drink packages. Hi. Now at the end here, this is where they used to have the Ben & Jerry's stand, but of course that partnership has sadly ended, so now it is just Sugar Beach, scoops from Sugar Beach, and they have different flavors there that you can get for an additional cost. Now the rest of the food at Cafe Promenade is included with your cruise fare, and this is also going to kind of act as a pseudo Sorrento's. That's Royal Caribbean's pizza place. They do not have Sorrento's on this ship, but they serve the same kind of pizzas right here, cheese, pepperoni, and then a special Caribbean Dream, one of my favorites, coming up later today. They'll also have some sandwiches here, and this is open around the clock. This is where you're gonna come for your late night eats. They also have a beverage station next to the condiment station. Back here in the back, you can help yourself. Seating abounds. It does continue all the way in the back here, and then they do have a second beverage station, which is more of your hot beverages. They have a selection of teas, hot chocolate, and then standard and decaf coffee. And of course, any beverage station like this is included with your cruise fare. People always ask us about drinks. You get tap water, you get standard coffee, any of these teas they have, milk, juice, lemonade, all of those things are included with your cruise fare. As we proceed through the promenade, you'll see this stairwell here roped off, goes up to that bridge there, and you can actually see another one further down. This is where they'll do various entertainment. They might have a 70s disco night or a big balloon drop. They do different things. But I also wanted to point out these windows that you'll see throughout the promenade. These are actually staterooms, and these are technically considered interior rooms because you don't have a view to the outside at all. So it's gonna be just like an interior room, except a little bit bigger, and you're gonna have these windows that look into the promenade. So here on deck 6, deck 7, and then deck 8 at the top is kind of slightly inclined there, so you can look down at the view. So this is a really cool option if you want to kind of be budget conscious, have that interior room, but still have a little bit of a view, still feel like you have something to look at. You can consider a promenade view room. And we always get asked about the noise. We haven't had issues with that when we stayed in. When they do the parties at night, those can get a little bit loud, but other than that, it's typically fine. I wanted to point out they do have a couple of Coke Freestyle machines here, so if you have any level of beverage package, starting with the soda package, you will receive a souvenir tumbler, like a kind of a refillable cup that you can use at these Coke Freestyle machines. They're located throughout the ship. I'll try to point them out as I see them, but there are 2 here in the Royal Promenade. Proceeding on forward, over here on the port side, we'll find Barnacle and Barrel. This is the pub on board, so it's gonna have the typical pub fare with the dark woods and things like that. Bar located along the back side, and then they even have a small stage for live entertainment in the evening. Across from the pub, we'll find our first shop, which is Solera Beauty. And of course, all the shops are closed right now because we are in port, but you get the idea. Beauty products, fragrances, things of that nature. And here is the stairwell that I mentioned earlier that will lead you into Casino Royale. Now just past that, we see this lovely, colorful signage here for the Bamboo Room. This is a very special place, not found on too many ships. I love the little souvenir, well not souvenir, but like the display car, kind of beach cruiser thing out here with the stuffed animals in it. And we have our big tiki as we enter the Bamboo Room. That is going to be the theming here. Tiki, Polynesian, South Pacific. You're going to get those different colors, the different kind of lights, turtles, all this stuff. And I love the beautiful rainbow color lights throughout. Then we're going to have our bar tucked over here. And then the back, it's tiki time. You can't argue with that. Oh, and I almost forgot this. They took a page out of Disney Cruise Line's book and did a virtual porthole here, transporting you to the South Pacific via a recording. Across from the Bamboo Room, we will see the market, which is going to be more shopping. Things like bags and clothes, jewelry, sunglasses, hats, all located in there. And right next door to that, we will find Port Merchants. This is where you will come and buy your alcohol, tobacco, those kind of things. Directly across from that, back over on the starboard side, we find regalia, jewelry, and watches. And I don't think I have to tell you what they sell. The sign says it all. And with that, we have covered the technical Royal Promenade area, but there are still some things to see right here off of it. If we turn over to the starboard side, we will see the guest services desk all along there, so if you have any issues, you can speak to them. There's also an ATM, and you can typically pick up paper versions of cruise compasses there as well. Now, next to that is this little desk, which is the port shopping area. So if you have any questions about shopping in the port, you can speak to them here. Over on the port side, we will find the entrance to the next cruise desk. This is one of our favorite areas on boards because, of course, we are travel agents, and this helps us as much as it helps you. And if you want to learn how we can help you as travel agents, it's completely free to you. You'll never pay more to book with us than you would direct on your own. Stay tuned to the end of the video. I'll give you some more information about that. But here at the next cruise desk, this is where you can come and book your next cruise. And if you do so, you will receive a special offer. They're going to have the standard promotion that's going on right now back on land, but they're also going to give you up to $600 off or $600 onboard credit. It's typically the onboard credit. Now, the amount that you receive is dependent on the stateroom level that you book. So here is a chart that breaks down the amounts that you'll receive. So not only dependent on the category of stateroom that you book, but also how long your sailing is dictates how much you will receive. So if you know what cruise you want to go on next, highly recommend visiting the next cruise desk here, speaking with an expert. They will get you set up and booked on that, and you will receive that special offer. Now, they also have all these flyers here showing the different upcoming sailings in all the different areas around the world. Now, if you're not sure what cruise you want to take next, we have another option for you. On the back side of this same flyer, turn it over and we see it says the book later form. So you fill out this form, they're going to charge you $200 non-refundable deposit, and then you have 2 months, 60 days to choose your next cruise when you get home. And then you can assign it to that. We as your travel agents can assign it for you, and then you will receive the same offers that you would have got had you chose while you were here on board the ship. So you have 2 months to make that decision. Now, if you go over 2 months, you still can't decide. You do have up until a year to make the decision to not forfeit your deposit. But I do want to stress, it's non-refundable. Even if you book here with an expert, it's non-refundable. You need to know that for the next cruise desk. But either way, these can be sent to us as your travel agent. So if you're interested in the book later, you're going to fill out the form and drop it here before your cruise is over. They'll charge the $200 to your onboard account, and then you will receive the confirmation email for you to assign that sailing later. And directly next to the next cruise desk, we will find the shore excursion station. So they're going to have all these little tablets here. You can come up, swipe your SeaPass card, tap the screen, and you'll be able to reserve different shore excursions for the different ports that you are visiting. Now, we typically strongly recommend you book these in advance of your cruise, as they can sell out, and they are also usually cheaper if you book them in advance as well. But if for some reason you weren't able to, or you need to change something, or you're just going on a whim, this is where you'll want to come. And then our last thing to see here on deck 5, all the way in the back, is the entrance to the upper level of the dining room. And with that, we have spanned all of deck 5. On to 6. All right, here comes my favorite part of every ship tour. Deck 6, only staterooms. On to 7. And deck 7 is also only staterooms. Moving on to 8. Deck number 8, also just staterooms. 9's up. Does my streak come to an end? No. Deck number 9 is also just staterooms. Going to 10. Deck number 10 has also just staterooms, but this does end our stateroom palooza. So we're going to 11, and there's a lot of stuff to see there. Deck number 11, as I mentioned, several things to see here, and several big things as well. So we're at the midship elevators. We're going to turn and head aft, and we are going to enter into the Windjammer Marketplace. This is the buffet for Royal Caribbean ships, and you'll see the name of 2 specialty restaurants listed there as well. Those are accessed from this area. Let's head inside. So right when you come in, of course, you're going to have your hand washing stations, and past that we enter into the actual buffet area. Now we have a bar centrally located, and then you can go this way over to the starboard side, or you can go this way over to the port side. They're pretty much going to be a mirror image once you get past this point, but a couple of differences right here at the entrance, those aforementioned specialty restaurants, such as Chops Grill. Of course, again, specialty restaurant means it comes at an additional cost. Chops Grill is Royal Caribbean's steakhouse. So here's a look inside of that. Got the nice floor-to-ceiling windows there, giving you that great view, and it goes all the way back there. Now, opposite of that, the little video board's giving you a sneak preview of things to come. Celebrity chef Jamie Oliver is presenting Jamie's Italian, and the name pretty much says it all. This is an Italian restaurant, and you're also going to have floor-to-ceiling windows over on this side of the ship. Get the nice pasta maker there as well. And this continues on back. We have the open kitchen. You also have that in Chops, by the way. And this continues all the way back there to that second seating section. So great views to be had from either restaurant, especially at sunset. And now we proceed into the actual Windjammer section itself, the buffet. And again, starboard, port, they're pretty much going to be the same. The food service sections are going to be tucked in on the interior. The seating is going to be out on the perimeter with the floor-to-ceiling windows all the way around. And you'll find beverage stations dispersed throughout the area as well, in addition to the Coke Freestyle machines that you can use your souvenir cups on. So we're just going to continue on throughout this area. This definitely gets very busy for breakfast almost every single day. Lunch on sea days is busy. On port days, not so bad. Dinner is usually pretty quiet in the Windjammer, so that's always a nice respite from things. So this just continues on around here, and then again, we'll have all of our food service sections here in the middle, the seating out on the perimeter. All the way here in the back of the ship, you can get some great wake views, aft views. If you're in port, you can see that as well, because those floor-to-ceiling windows continue throughout the entire venue. All right, checking back in on our map just to help us stay oriented here. So we just saw the Windjammer area, Chops Grill, and Jamie's Italian. So that's the entire aft section. Now, as we proceed forward, we'll be heading outside to the pool deck. And per the usual, I'd like to give the bird's eye view of the pool deck. I think that kind of helps explain how everything's laid out. But before we head up, I wanted to point out Arctic Zone, the soft serve yogurt station, complimentary with your cruise fare, located right here on the starboard side. All right, here's our bird's eye view of the pool deck area. Of course, you're gonna have lounge chairs throughout, and they do have the big video board towards the aft section of the ship there, showing different things. You'll also have tables and chairs and other loungers tucked up under the deck 12 walkway there on both sides, and deck 11 port side is a smoking section, so keep that in mind. But you can see we have our two main pool areas. They do have this one netted off right now, but both of them are going to have kind of the shallow shelf, and then the deeper section you can get in. You also have hot tubs on both sides. Over there you have two that are covered, and over here you have two that are open to the sun and elements. They have the stage there in the middle where they have the live reggae band, and then you'll have the pool bar there centrally located with the seating on either side. Now the seating on either side is actually reserved for suite level guests, or if you're Pinnacle, member of the Crown and Anchor Society, things like that. So those are special reserved areas, those kind of tiered seating sections, but the rest of the lounge chairs are open for everyone. So just want to kind of give this bird's eye view, give you an idea of how this pool deck is laid out. Now we'll go back down and see the rest of the deck in detail. All right, back down on deck 11 now. I showed you the soft serve area over there on the starboard side. Over here on the port side, I almost forgot, they have the boardwalk doghouse. So this is where you can come and get hot dogs, sausage dogs, things like that, coleslaw, potato salad, and this is included with your cruise fare. And indeed, I was correct. Deck 11 port side is the smoking section. Proceeding forward here on deck 11, we are getting ready to enter the solarium. And interesting to note, the solarium used to be for guests 16 and older, but we've noticed on several ships now, they've bumped that up. They're just calling it an adults only area now, 18 and older. So this is gonna be kind of a quieter area. It's gonna be more enclosed, at least here on the sides. They're gonna have the day beds, they're gonna have the hot tub, and then they're gonna have a pool here in the middle. And this part is open air where the pool is. So lots of lounge chairs, lots of day beds, little couches, things like that. And then they'll have the solarium bar here in the middle. They have a hot tub over there on the starboard side, and the lounge chairs and day beds just continue throughout on either side of the solarium pool. All right, I've come inside now on deck 11, the forward elevators and stairs, but I wanted to point out something a little fun here. If you come over to the port side, see this sign? Peekaboo Bridge. Head back outside. Now we're back in the solarium area, but if you come over here, this door, if it will open, sometimes it's closed. Oh, it is open. You can come out to this outdoor area. Look, they're testing lifeboats right now. And it actually wraps around. And on the very forward part of the ship, you'll find this little interesting area with a step down. So be mindful of that. But then you'll see all these little windows, and they actually look right into the bridge of the ship, where the captain and the crew control everything. And you can see all their little screens, displays, knobs, and then right through to the helipad. And there's actually an informational piece here that explains all about the bridge and what all the sections are and how they do everything. Super little cool feature, and there is actually an accessible lift there as well. So if you need that to access this, you can. And then it kind of just wraps back around over here on the starboard side, though the door over there says crew only. So it's kind of blocked off. You see they have the partition there, and then these windows actually are into the fitness center, which we'll see in just a moment. But this is a really cool feature. This isn't available on many ships, so take advantage of it when you're on Mariner of the Seas. And actually, I should point out, if the helipad's busy during sail away, this would be a great spot to come in and take advantage of the views while you're sailing from port to port, sailing out from your destination port, your port of, not your port of call, but your departure port that you're sailing from. Could be some really nice views here if the helipad's too busy. Stopping back in on our map to help us get reoriented. So of course we saw the whole back section there. Then we saw the pool deck. I forgot to mention the dive shop over on this side. They have certain equipment that you can rent there, but that's just a minor thing. Then we went into the solarium, a couple of staterooms there, but now we turn to the forward part. Oh wait, forgot to mention, out here to the Peekaboo Bridge. Now we turn to the very forward part of this deck, and we will find the entrance to the spa and the fitness center, at least on this deck. You can also access it via deck 12 and come down those stairs right there. So this section on deck 11 is more of the fitness center than the actual spa. So you see they have several consultation areas here. They also have changing rooms, sauna, and steam rooms right through there. And then they have an area where they'll usually maybe do some classes, spin class, things like that. And then you're gonna find all of your free weights, your resistance machines, your ellipticals, your treadmills, all that good stuff up here in this area. And again, those floor to ceiling windows looking out the very front of the ship where we just were with the Peekaboo Bridge. They have TVs mounted showing live sports and various things, all kinds of equipment that you would need throughout here, as well as clean towels. Okay, I checked that there was no one in here before I started filming, but I've come into the changing and restroom area, and I wanted to point out there's showers in here too, but like I mentioned, steam and sauna room, these are things you usually have to pay for, and it's just part of the spa, but look, you can go right in there. There's the steam room, and then right next to that is the dry sauna. Now these are for 18 and older only, but you're not having to pay for these. You can just go right into them. That's a really nice feature of this ship. They also have lockers in this area, showers, changing areas, fresh towels, restrooms, all kinds of good stuff. All right, and with the fitness center covered, we are finished with deck 11. We're going to 12. Deck number 12 now, and deck 12 has the distinction of being the last deck that you can walk all the way across. From here on out, it's going to be split between, so 13, 14, and 15. If you want to go to those, you have to use the appropriate either forward elevators or midship elevators. Deck 12, the last one that we can walk across. And this is going to be kind of our sun deck, jogging track, spa area, and the kids area in the back. So let's turn forward here and we will see that aforementioned entrance into the ship-shaped spa here on deck 12, that stairwell that takes you back down, located there in the middle, and here is the check-in desk for the spa. So if you have a spa treatment, you want to set something up, this is where you will come. And I should also point out that they have a hair and beauty salon here as well. So other than staterooms, nothing else to see for deck 12 forward. So we're actually going to turn past the elevators here. You have this cool little walk across bridge with some nice views, and you can actually head outside right here on deck 12. We'll get the bird's eye view of the solarium and the solarium pool there, and then this will begin our sun deck area with all the lounge chairs for you to sunbathe in, as well as our jogging track that you can see painted on the ground there, and it continues throughout this area and goes behind the video board over there. Now, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, so we're waiting on this, but deck 13, the forward part is accessed via these exterior stairwells here. One on the starboard side, one on the port side. I did that in reverse, but it doesn't matter. This is where you will access the Mariner Dunes, which is the mini golf. And since this is the only thing available on deck 13 forward, there is no deck 14 or 15 forward, let's go ahead and show that now. So in addition to the mini golf course being tucked in the back here, well actually the front, I should say, since we are on the forward part of the ship, you do have all of these sun loungers dedicated in these various areas, and these awesome day beds here, kind of like the half dome style. And then you also have the shower. This little archway thing is actually a freshwater shower. So lots of cool areas to lounge at here. And a lot of people don't come up here because they think it's just the mini golf. There's even some tables and chairs, benches tucked up under in the shade there. And then you find the mini golf, the Mariner Dunes. This is included with your cruise fare. You can grab your clubs and your balls right there. And then you have 9 holes of fun, all kinds of different obstacles. You have clam plinko over there, hit it up in the boat there, through the lighthouse on the back, and you also get some great views here as well. So kind of mirror image over on the starboard side that we just saw on the port side, with the freshwater shower, the day beds, and sun loungers, all that good stuff. But of course the main draw of this area is the Mariner Dunes. And again, this is technically deck 13. I don't like to usually jump ahead like that, but since there's nowhere else to go on the forward part, this is it. This will save us having to ping pong back and forth later on for the decks coming up. So now we can just go back down to deck 12, finish it by going to the aft, and then we can just work our way up from there, and we'll stay in that back section. Should make things less complicated. Before I head down the stairs, I will point out, you saw the jogging track and those day beds there. There's a little platform there that has another sun lounge area. It's not really called anything or designated on the map, but it's another spot to take in the sun. Continuing towards the aft here on deck number 12. Again, it's our sun deck, it's our jogging track all the way around, but we'll have another bar here, the Sky Lounge, right above the pool bar area, and then you'll have this nice seating area right in front of that. Now, past that, we saw this earlier, the tiered seating, and as I mentioned, this is reserved for the concierge suites and the pinnacle members of the Crown and Anchor Society on both sides of the ship. All right, I've come inside here on the deck 12 elevators and stairs midship, I should say. We saw all this in the front, came past on the jogging track, and now we're kind of getting into the kids, teens, babies, fun, young adults area here. I want to point out, you can continue along on the outside there and kind of walk around to the back, which will take you to the flow rider area, which we'll see in a bit, or you can access these areas, mainly Johnny Rockets, from the outside as well. But we've come inside because this is where we're going to see most of these things where you will access them from. So we see Adventure Ocean, that is the kids area on board Royal Caribbean ships, and part of it's going to be accessed over here on the starboard side, and part of it's going to be accessed over here on the port side. But right here in the middle, we have the Challenger's Arcade. This is the video arcade on board. Anyone can feel free to use this. It does come at an additional cost, and I will remind you that if you purchase arcade credits in advance of your cruise, you will receive a 20% discount. So if you know someone's going to be playing in the arcade, highly recommend you take advantage of that, as it will save you a few shekels there. But they have all kinds of stuff in here, all the usual favorites. Skee ball, you can't beat it. And it kind of wraps around. This is actually a pretty large arcade for a cruise ship, and it does have the virtual prize hub. So your SeaPass card or your arcade card, if you purchase one, will keep track of your virtual tickets, and you can redeem those for prizes there in that prize hub. Continuing all the way around here, it circles back around over there, and then even continues down this back hallway where you'll find some air hockey and some of those pusher games that you can never actually win at. And then one of our favorites, Laughing Madness. Now just past those, we'll actually find some other areas for the kids. So here we have Fuel, which is like the teen disco kind of area. Lounge and hang out there. See, they have the juice bar and a couple seats and a dance floor there in the back. And we'll also find the entrance to Voyagers, ages 9 to 11, the oldest age group for the Adventure Ocean Kids Club. So you can see their hangout area inside of there. Now in between the two arcade areas there, we see the games and then the air hockey table. We just saw those rooms back there. We'll find the entrance for Explorers. This is for ages 6 to 8. They have a nice little playroom area going on inside of there. Now off the arcade on the starboard side, there is this little tunnel that heads outside, and you'll also find a door to Johnny Rockets, but as it says, please use the other door. But across from that, we'll find the living room, and this is the main teenagers area. We saw Fuel, kind of the teen disco, but this is, well, I say it's the main teen area, it usually is. I don't know if that little toy there on the ground is usually for teens, but they have a hangout area, TVs, video games, stuff like that, usually inside of there. And actually, judging by that toy and the sign on the door here, I'm guessing they've started using the living room as a multi-use space, not just for teens, but I'm not sure. The staff on board will be able to tell you for sure. Back at the entrance to the arcade, we'll actually kick over here to the port side and find the entrance for the Aquanauts area, ages 3 to 5. And they have the cute little carpet here, bamboo along the wall, the trees back here, and then it winds all the way back until you reach their play area, the entrance right here. And now kicking over here to the starboard side, we'll find the hallway entrance for Royal Babies and Tots, which is pretty much just the nursery on board. You see the entrance to that right here. And then the open play area actually on this side, which is the living room, because there's that toy again. And now that I'm actually taking time to read this sign, I now see that it does say that open play in this room is not supervised by the staff. Parents and guardians are required to watch their children, so we can actually go in here. I don't think anyone's in. So that's what it is. They've now just made this an open play area. They've got cartoons on the TV, all these toys spread throughout. Interesting. So that's how the living room is now being used. Strike what I said about a teen area. No more. Back at the map once again. So we shot through the middle there, saw the video arcade all the way to the back, the entrance to Fuel and Voyagers, and then we came around here, kind of saw that entrance to that playroom over there, and then on this side, the entrance to the living room and the nursery. Now we saw Johnny Rockets, but we didn't see Johnny Rockets, so let's head outside over here on the starboard side and take a look at that. And we'll head aft now. We see the sign, so we can just follow that. Now, important to note, Johnny Rockets is not a true specialty dining spot, but it does come at an additional cost, so keep that in mind. There's also a stairwell here to access the sports court on deck 13, which we'll see in just a bit. But we follow this on around and we will find Johnny Rockets. I want to point out they do have some outdoor seating here, these hard bench style booth seats that you can dine at. They have the hours of operation for Johnny Rockets posted on the outside, and then you can also see on the inside to the actual diner setup there. So again, coming at an additional cost, but they do have the drinks, the shakes, the fries, the burgers, the hot dogs, all that good stuff here at Johnny Rockets. And then it just continues to wrap around here. You'll have loungers on the starboard side here. Over on the port side, they have some games painted on the deck, like hopscotch and tic-tac-toe for the kids at Adventure Ocean. And then either side will end in the stairwell up to deck 13. I know that was all a bit labyrinthian, but it is now covered, as is deck 12 in totality, so we will head up to deck 13. Again? Some ships do not have a deck 13 out of superstition, but Mariner does not fall in that category. Now, as a reminder, Got a sneak peek of deck 13 when we went up and saw Mariner Dunes on the forward part, but that's it for the forward. It's done. We're done with that in totality now. We will focus on the midship and aft sections. So here on deck 13, we're gonna head outside and see the sports court and the water area, all that fun stuff. But there's something important to note with the elevators first. And this window here will help me explain it perfectly. So if we look over here on the port side, we see the elevators come up here to deck 13 and actually continue on up past us. However, if you look at the starboard side, we see the blue wall. The elevators actually stop on deck 12. So if you need elevators to come up to 13, 14, or 15, you actually need to come midship and use the port side elevators. Now with that covered, we're ready to head outside to the sports court and water play area. We have our own special map for this area showing all the different things that are gonna be laid out. We do have a ping pong table right as we come out, and the paddles and the balls are up there on the wall. And we have our full-size basketball court here, hoops on either side, but they'll also set up for some other events. Like you see, they got the net in the middle. They've been doing a lot of pickleball lately. The Royal Caribbean's really getting into pickleball. Vicky Freed is having her way. But sometimes they'll set up soccer or other things as well here on the basketball court. Now over here on the starboard side, we will find these little fun hammock swings, which do have some rules. 5 children or 2 adults is the max occupancy, with a max weight of 500 pounds to hang out on these Spider-Man-esque swing hammocks. And then past that, we're gonna have the Sky Climber. This is a fun area. You can climb on up in there, do the different levels, all the way up to the top. And this is not just for children. As long as there's less than 40 people and you weigh less than 300 pounds, you're free to climb. So go ahead, enjoy. We did that on our first sailing on Mariner. I don't know if we'll do it again. And next to that, we have some actual hammocks here. So enjoy lounging out on the back side. Next to that, we will see the stairwell here that says Sky Pad. So you're gonna take that to get up to that big yellow globe. Let's take a look at that. Now the interesting thing to note with Sky Pad is that when it first debuted, it was actually a virtual reality bungee trampoline experience. And it is no longer that. You can see they have the TVs that used to have the rules and this preview displays turned off now. So what is Sky Pad? Since they're not doing that, well, now it's just kind of a hangout area. They've got some cornhole boards set up out here, and I think they said they were gonna do some classes, like yoga classes and things like that out here. It does light up at night, so it looks cool, but that's it. No more trampolines, no more ropes, no more bungees. That's all done. This is just kind of a mixed-use space that looks cool. All the same, I should point out that there is an accessible elevator if you want to come up here. All right, back down on our main sports and adrenaline deck here. Turning to the very back of the ship, we will find the Flow Rider. This is the surf simulator on board a lot of Royal Caribbean ships. Just the one here on the Voyager class ships, not two like on most Oasis class ships. Just the one, but you will have those beautiful wake views while you're surfing and enjoying. They do the stand-up surfing, they do the knee boarding, all that kind of stuff, and they do have the gallery seating on the other side so you can watch people doing it. Now back behind that, we will find the entrance to Perfect Storm. These are the 2 water slides on board, the Typhoon and the Cyclone, and you can see the minimum height, 48 inches, the maximum weight, 250 for the Cyclone, 220 for the Typhoon. These are very basic water slides, if I'm being perfectly honest. They're not anything too spectacular. They're just kind of enclosed tubes and you just slide around. Now you do get the lights with the sun shines through and it looks like multicolors flashing there. And there are a couple of sections that are clear, which is pretty cool. And in fact, if you do the blue one, the clear section goes out over the ship. So I guess that's pretty cool, but these move very slow. They're not adrenaline seekers at all. So these are just kind of basic water slides. Oh, and before we depart the area, I just found the restrictions for the Flow Rider. The minimum heights required there. And I mentioned the ping pong table right when we came out, but there's also another one tucked up under the Sky Pad there. So with the sports and water area covered, we have finished with deck 13. Let's go to 14. All right, deck 14 now, and doesn't have my typical display map that I've been using, so I have to come to the digital one here. It's just this little area off the midship elevators and stairs, which are located right here. So if we come off those and we turn to the port side here, we'll find the entrance and the exit to the suite lounge. So if you're staying any suite level accommodation, you will have access to this lounge. I do not have access to it because I'm not staying in a suite, but this is where it is. And right next to that, we will find the stairwell to the escape room, the observatorium. This does come at an additional cost on our sailing, about $30 per person. But the stairwell will take you up to the Puzzle Break Center and the escape room, so you do have to wait for the attendant. They will actually escort you up. Now, if you need an accessible lift, they do have one over here on this side, this stairwell, that you can utilize to get up there. And not to get ahead of ourselves, but that is actually the only thing on deck 15 is the escape room. So we're kind of done with that, and we'll be done with the ship once we finish up here on 14. Now, as we turn into the rest of deck 14, we'll find the entrance to Ellington's. This is a multi-use space, so during the day, just kind of a big lounge space here, floor-to-ceiling windows, overlooking the outside, looking back at the ship. And then here in the middle, we have a dance floor and a stage, because at night this becomes kind of like the club area. Sometimes they'll do karaoke, they'll do various events, and of course they have a bar in this area as well. And the lounge seating continues all the way back around to the other side. Just off the bar area of Ellington's is our last venue to see, the Crown Lounge, for those who are diamond level or higher of the Crown and Anchor Society, Royal Caribbean's loyalty program. I actually do have access to this, so let's take a look. So here in the Diamond Lounge, they do have a snack and drink area with the water and the special coffee machine there. And then they'll have various snacks throughout the day that you can help yourself to. Right now they have some fresh fruit and some cookies as well. And then past that, you can actually go outside. They have an outdoor seating section of the lounge, in addition to the interior seating section here, which does have the floor-to-ceiling windows. And they also have a help desk right as you come in, so if you need assistance with something, you can speak to the crew member here, and they can set you up with that. Well, there you have it, friends. That is our tour of Royal Caribbean's Mariner of the Seas. Once again, I'll remind you to check out our full Mariner of the Seas playlist if you want to see our daily videos as well as our room tour. And if you're interested in coming on board Mariner of the Seas or sailing on any other Royal Caribbean vessel, we are travel agents. We partner directly with Royal Caribbean. Our services are completely free to you. We'll never charge you any fees or costs whatsoever, and you will never pay a single cent more to book with us than you would direct on your own. So please feel free to reach out via the travel agent information that you can find in the description of this video. If you've recently booked your Royal Caribbean cruise within the past 30 days and you're not paid in full, you can transfer your booking to our agency. That's also free of charge, and then we'll be able to assist you the rest of the way. So either way, we hope we will hear from you soon. Once again, I want to thank you for joining us for today's video, but we're signing off, and we'll see you next time. Happy travels!